Hey everybody, this is Michael Gatewood and I'm going in and like to teach you a little bit about doing an artistic black and white. What we have here is a traditional portrait shot of a young model, and what we'd like to do is turn this black and white and then make it a little more artistic. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to go over here and I'm going to bring layers over so you can see it. And we have a layer and a background also. Well, this background's not necessary, so we unlocked it and threw it in the garbage can. And we'll name the layer, which is now layers or layer 1, and we'll call it model. Now I'm going to go ahead and take this and turn it black and white. Now I'm working in layers, but in order to turn this black and white, what we'd like to do is we'd like to go with an adjustment layer. Now an adjustment layer looks a little bit like this, kind of a circle, half white, half black, or like a black and white cookie. What I'm going to do is I'm simply going to click and I'm going to go to the option for black and white. Once I go to black and white, I'm simply going to go in here and adjust this black and white. I'm never quite happy with the exact change from color to black and white without some subtle adjustments, whether it be the reds to bring that down a little bit or to move the yellows left or right to get the kind of tone and the look I'm going for. What we have now is a black and white, but along with an adjustment layer we also get something called a mask. And masks are very simple. White reveals, black conceals. And this is going to give us an opportunity to take this black and white to a higher level. What I'm going to do is move our properties panel over here, and then what I'm going to do is simply go in and go to a paintbrush. And with the paintbrush, I have so many options, so many great brushes out there. But with this option, a traditional soft round paintbrush ought to be just fine. Now I'm going to use the bracket keys, the left or right bracket keys, to be able to bring the brush size down just a bit. And you can see my brush coming down to about the size, a little smaller than the face. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start bringing back the color that we've so hidden at this point. Right now it's a traditional black and white, but now with a paintbrush and changing the opacity, or in essence the power of the brush, we are going to go in there and bring that opacity down. Now I'm going to double click on the hand tool to make sure we have full workspace. And with the paintbrush, we're going to bring it down, I don't know, maybe 35, 34%, somewhere in there. It's not an exact science. White reveals, black conceals, and I have in here a black brush. Black will conceal the color, but because we turn down the opacity, it's going to come back very soft. And what I'm doing is I'm painting into the skin tones that color back. Now, that's kind of cool. And then at that point I might pop the eyes a few extra times to bring back the detail in the eyes and maybe a little more in the lips. And what we end up with is we end up going from color to black and white, but very subtle. And what we're doing is we're just simply going in and painting in the areas where we might want a little more flesh tone. Don't worry about being perfect. This is art. Sometimes the imperfections work for us. But what we've got is a very soft color brought back in to a black and white image or grayscale image. And then at that point, let's go in here and let's double check and see our sizing. Here, if we can do this. I'm going to pop out of this for just a second and then back into Photoshop. There we go. And let's go in and take a look at our image size. Our image size is 13 by 22, resolution 72. Rather a almost low-res image. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in here and give it a nice crop. On this crop, we're looking at maybe going in with a width and height and resolution of something like a 10 by 8 inch dimension. And we can go in here and put in 300 for our resolution, and of course we can kind of position this where we want for the best looking crop. When I double click on this, we have an 8 by 10 image, which then in turn we can go ahead and do a save as and save this for print purposes. And if we're saving it for print purposes, a Photoshop document will allow us to go back in and edit, but a JPEG will allow us to be able to send it to maybe one of our favorite labs in order to have this printed as an 8 by 10. And that is a way to get an artistic look in Photoshop by turning it grayscale and then bringing back the color. Very subtle, very artistic. My name's Michael Gatewood, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to like.